So with the help of a follower of mine, I was able to play the Madden 21 beta, and I'd just like to get out some of my thoughts right away on what I think of it, what's it's improved, what it hasn't changed, which there's a lot of, and what it has changed. First, I'll start with the presentation. This is the best presentation I've seen in any Madden. The sidelines come to life here with fully rendered bench players with more organic animations and even little things like the Microsoft Surface showing the previous play. The new user celebrations, which is just last year's celebration command but with a bigger menu, now triggers more often for things like good defensive plays, first downs, sacks, tackles for losses, and it's a really nice addition. There are even new transition slides for things like scores, safeties, extra points, and whatnot. Also, the song choices and the ambient sounds inside the stadium are pretty good. They're better than last year for sure. They make it feel more like a stadium, makes it feel like you're there, and overall gives a good experience of being in a football game. But I will say I do not like the return of Charles Davis and Brandon Godden. Nothing against those two, but hearing the same lines over and over and over again for what, 3 years now, it got old Madden 19. So I really wish there was an upgrade there or even give them more lines. It doesn't seem like there's any new lines for them. I'll make a quick note on the technical side, but do note it is a beta, and the point of this is to get rid of all the stuff like that, so I highly doubt it'll be there when the game launches. But the frame rate was very choppy and was really awkward playing right away. Once it fully updated, it kind of fixed it a little bit, but not completely. And I did see a lot of bugs with the gear, like floating face mask where there was like a foot below the top of the face mask, not the face mask, the visor, and other things like pads not being in the right spots. Maybe some of the padding is an issue with textures, but some of it looks kind of that it's there on purpose and it looks really bad. Like I saw it in the trailer with Joey Bosa. He looked like a dinosaur. I didn't know what was up with that. But that was pretty much it for technical limitations. I didn't seem to notice anything out of the ordinary, but that's kind of expected because it seems to be the exact same engine as Madden 20, exact same framework, exact same basis for animations. So it's basically just an improvement of Madden 20, just a $60 update or 80 or 100 depending on what you're paying for it, which isn't a great thing. If you're playing this strictly for franchise or strictly for play now head to head, do not buy this game. This is a nearly carbon copy of Madden 20 with an increase to things like abilities, X factors, things that really only matter in MUT. And if you really can't do without the big trust factor on Lamar Jackson, then yeah, maybe this is the game for you. But I definitely steer clear of it if you're not a MUT centric player. So on to gameplay, which is I'm assuming what most of you are here for. This is very, very, very similar to MUT 20. The biggest thing I saw was running backs seemed a little bit slow, seemed a little bit clunky to move, but I also felt that way in Madden 20's beta, and I felt that way when Madden 20 launched. But then with the increase to agility as the power creep went up and everything, it felt like everything was buttery on the sticks. This game does not feel like that right away, but that doesn't mean it won't in the future. So right away off the bat, it's going to be a pass heavy game because zones, middle linebackers, that's a whole thing. Users are super slow. Middle linebackers, super slow. Linebackers don't move in coverage. Same thing as how they were at the end of the year last year, where if you threw a laser right at a middle linebacker's face, he's not going to jump at it. The receivers seem to catch a lot more contested balls than they did last year. So it's which kind of makes sense because in the NFL they aren't dropping those contested balls where they're getting hit as much as they do in Madden. So I like that if they take away the user nerf because the user is what kind of separated the skill. It's Madden isn't a very skill based game without the user. Sure, you can win with scheme, but every once in a while someone's going to get a lucky computer pick or lucky something like that or lucky 80-yard touchdown because there are the animations where both the defender goes up and the receiver goes up for an aggressive catch or aggressive pick animation and the defender gets bumped maybe a little bit and is completely off the ball. So what I'm saying, right, basically, in pass coverage, the animations really haven't been changed or improved. They've just added new animations to the pool. And I said this on my story earlier. I saw a computer commit pass interference, an actual animation for pass interference because they were getting beat in coverage. I don't want that anywhere near competitive play. If I see that in a head-to-head game, I am I'm putting down Madden. I'm never playing it ever again. It was the most frustrating thing I've seen, and hopefully it will not show up again ever for me. But back to running. Like I said, it doesn't seem to be the meta anymore. It seems a little clunky. It seems a little bit slow, like it did last year. But also, the four teams we were allowed to use were the Ravens, the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, and the Falcons. And all four of them did not have X factors or abilities on the running backs. So there was no way to test how those feel on running backs. So all I know is day one, they could be grossly overpowered. Because Lamar Jackson with Jukebox is really good. And to focus on Lamar Jackson, sure, Escape Artist is as good as it was last year, but they have balanced it out so well where you can't really use it as a crutch because he will get tired out. Once he breaks the line of scrimmage, he will start running super slow, which it's I don't like them messing with the stamina of players, but with the frequency you run into people escape artist spamming or QB blast spamming because the weird animations that come with it, I really like it. Because I ran a few read options for like 6 plays straight, and by the end, Lamar Jackson was super slow and he didn't recover for about 3 or 4 minutes, which I love that. People will hate that because it, you know, cheese and other things, but it's a great balance, I feel. Onto QBs like Tom Brady. Hot route master, super, super good on him. Super good if you know what routes to call, if you know what the defense is running. But like it was last year, I don't think anyone's going to have it until people have the corners and the defense necessary to cover it. So I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as it looked like it was going to be when I started playing until I realized no quarterback's going to have this right away. So on to a couple of the new abilities and X factors I want to focus on. So first is Lamar Jackson's Truz ability, which it requires you to get past the line of scrimmage and rush for a yard 8 times in competitive play and like 4 or 5 times in sim. And it's like max security, the whatever the X factor was for it last year, where you will not fumble until you get tackled for a loss. So I could see a little bit of cheese potential coming from that, but with the balance to him being a lot slower, I feel a sack will happen in the meantime. He'll probably be able to run down the middle and try to truck a few guys, maybe 4 or 5 plays in a row, but I don't think it'll be too big of an issue. And finally, Earl Thomas's film study ability, super nice. I feel it's going to be necessary to have it on at least one person because what it does is allows you to see the play another other person is running if they repeatedly call it over and over and over again. So if you want to know if they're stretch spamming, for instance, and you don't know which side they're going to stretch spam, this will tell you which side so you can run commit everyone that way. All in all, I had fun. It felt like Madden. Take that how you want it. Madden's Madden, I guess. It's not too big of a change for Madden 21. So like I said, I like the game. I like its little improvements. I like how it's going to play into Madden Ultimate Team. But as for franchise, as for head to head, I don't think it's worth buying this game. They said they're going to add to franchise, but they said they were going to add to franchise last year and the year before, and all they did was add like 3 expansion teams and change the color of the options when you're scrolling through, and other little things like the coach in his office or the player in the locker room. But yeah, other than that, if they do improve franchise, I would recommend it because it plays like last year's. They ironed out a lot of the cheese, a lot of the bugginess of running animations stacking up. Every time I called a pitch or a stretch play, it didn't seem like people were getting cluttered at the line of scrimmage and weren't able to tackle him. So that was really good to see. But yeah, I mean, it's Madden. The beta really didn't show me anything new. The biggest thing for Mutt is if they're gonna keep up with it or leave it out to dry like they did this year. Like we really got shafted this year in Mutt. So let's hope they focused everything towards 21 and we're gonna have like a promo every week or so, something like they do in mobile. Mobile seems to always have content rotating all the time, which I don't get it. It's a smaller studio, but they seem to just pump out the content. But yeah, thanks for listening. Follow my Instagram Ultimate Updates if you want updates on Madden 21 and all the new cards and stuff it comes with. And thank you.